For today's project, we're going to be needing the cutting board, a hula hoop, and a foam of your choice. I got one of these round flat foams that I'm going to be using. What we're going to do is go ahead and remove the sticker from the hula hoop and then spray paint it the color of your choice. I chose to spray paint it gold. It's black when you remove all the sticker from it. You might want to keep it black, but it's your choice. Then you cut a groove in the foam and hot glue or E6000 the foam to the cutting board. And what I'm doing is I'm placing the bottom of the hula hoop, I guess you can say the opening of the hula hoop, towards the bottom of the centerpiece, so you won't see that part anywhere else. And again, E6000 or hot glue. I use a Gorilla hot glue, so it works pretty good. You just go ahead and hot glue that, hold it for a little while, and I realized that once I placed everything else on top, I was scared that it would bend or fold, to either side. So what I did for reinforcement was get some of the Jenga little wood pieces and glue it on either side of the hula hoop just to give it that extra security. These are some of the florals that I might be using for this centerpiece. I'm not too sure. I don't know about you guys, but I usually get a certain amount of stuff, just, kind of playing with the idea in my mind, but then I don't exactly know how it's going to turn out or what I'm going to use until I start actually putting it all together. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys are the same way. What we're going to use first is the moss grass, and this is completely optional because once I've completely finished it, you really didn't even see it, but I just didn't want any of the foam to be seeping through or anything like that. But if you want to save and not do the moss, you can, and then maybe just put a little bit wherever you see your foam after you're completely done with everything else, putting all the flowers and decor on it. I use some of the floor white roses and also some of the wood driftwood pieces that they have at Dollar Tree right now. I'm also using some of these round mini wood round balls that they have at the Dollar Tree, like as a filler. And this greenery I purchased at the Dollar Spot in Target. And then also the baby's breath is from Dollar Tree. All I did was cut it off of the stems and glue just the baby's breath flower part to this display. I also made some more of the burlap roses for this as well. This is going to be for enchanted forest / country wedding. So I kind of wanted to do a little bit country, a little bit enchanted forest, and I was debating on how to do this. But once I completed it, I absolutely loved it. One thing that I didn't do or show on this video is afterwards I put lights on the bottom, the wire lights that you can get at Dollar Tree. But you just play around with it. I also had one of these pine cones, the mini pine cones left, so I put that on there. So basically it's white roses, one of the greeneries from the Dollar Spot at Target, and the wood stems or little wood pieces from Dollar Tree, and then the baby's breath is basically all you're going to use in the bottom, and moss if you want to. And once I was completed, I actually only used half a bag of the moss, 2 stems of the roses, which come 4 in each stem, 1 of the greeneries, and 2 of the baby breath stems. So this is very, very affordable. The completely The entire centerpiece was a little bit around $10 to $12, depending, because you don't really use, again, you don't have to use the moss and certain items. So it was roughly about $10 total, which is great for a wedding centerpiece. And it's huge, so it makes a huge impact once you have it on your table. So that's how the bottom looks. Now we're going to work on the top. And the whole thing was because of this I found at one of my thrift stores. It's lavender green, I'm sorry, felt green ribbon. And this is why I decided to do everything else. This was the beginning of my idea, was this ribbon. So the one I'm making right now that is going to be for the actual main table, but the other ones that are going to be on all the other remainder tables, the guest tables, is going to have the Dollar Tree green ribbon. But you just make a simple bow, which I do an X, and then I put one in the middle. And each ribbon is roughly about 8 inches, and then I just fold it in half. And then the center one is about roughly 6 inches. Then you get a little piece about 2-3 inches and just make a little round circle and glue it, and that'll be the center of your bow. Now the tails of this bow I'm not going to place on here until actually I'm completely done with everything. That way I can know how I want them, or where I want them to be. These are the Dollar Tree long stems that you could purchase. I purchased them last year, but every summer and spring I see that they have them there, or they might have something completely different that you might want to use. But this is what I used. And I only used one of those stems. I just cut it in certain pieces. Then on the top, what I'm going to do is, again, use some of the baby's breath. And on some of the baby's breath, I just left the leaves on it, just so it could look fuller. I absolutely love this. I put it on top of my buffet table in my dining room, and I think I want to make one just to keep there for spring and summer. And this is what's going to be hanging from the center of this hula hoop display, which is the lanterns that you can purchase at Dollar Tree. At first, I decided to put only two, but at the end, you'll see that I actually put three. It just looked odd with just two. And I used the burlap ribbon to tie them to the hula hoop. And you just cut a piece of burlap. It doesn't have to be too long or too short. I really didn't measure it, because at the end I'm going to cut whatever's extra on each one of these burlap strings, because I want them to be different levels, the lanterns to be different levels. So if you really want to know, it might be about 12 inches would be a good start for each one of these ribbons to be cut, and then you can just go ahead and cut whatever's left off of them once you're done placing the lanterns on it. This is another one of the burlap roses that I made. And again, some of the white roses. And remember, when you're going to make something like this, try to make or purchase enough for both sides. Since it's going to be a centerpiece on the table, you want it to look pretty on both sides of this hula hoop. Now, you'll see that you don't necessarily have to make it exactly the same on both sides, just so you want to make it look full on both sides. Because I really don't ever make it exactly the same on both sides, but that's just my style. And I use the same items that I used on the bottom and the top. One thing I did use also were the large and the small pearls that you can purchase at Dollar Tree. And I used about 4 or 5 on each one of these displays, or centerpieces, I'm sorry. And the pearls just gave it that final touch. when they asked if I could um, help decor the wedding, the bride, the first thing she said, she didn't want the typical mason jars for her centerpieces. So it was because that was the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, okay, I can just use mason jars and wood or what have you. But she didn't want that, so it took me a while to figure out what I could make based on her budget. So I was really, really excited when I came up with this idea. And you just simply add the baby's breath or any small little flower that you choose to use. And then you're going to add the bow. And at first, you can see right here, I wanted to put the bow underneath the burlap rose. But what I ended up doing was removing the burlap rose and putting it somewhere else so I could have the bow in the center. And I added a smaller burlap rose in the back. And now I'll be making the tails after I add these lanterns to the center. And again, you just play with them and decide how high or how tall you want them or from the bottom. And if you see, it looks odd with just two. That's why I ended up making it with three, like that. So now we're going to work at them on the back of the hula hoop. And you're going to see, like I said, I really don't make it exactly the same as the front. I just didn't want the ugliness of all the backings of the flowers and everything to be shown. On the top of this, I ended up using four of the baby breaths. I'm sorry, three of the baby breath stems. And then again, you add another burlap rose. Basically, I wanted a burlap rose on every side since that was kind of the country style of this display with the centerpieces. And I also used some of the moss foam rocks, I guess you could call them, from Dollar Tree as well. And the thing is with those foam rocks, I didn't do it to this one, but you can cut them in half and use them that way. If you know you're not going to use the back, no one's going to see the back of the foam rock, which will save more money for you and it's more budget friendly. Especially, I know it's costly once you start making 30 or 40 of these, depending on how many tables you're going to have at your party or wedding or what have you that you're going to do. I also added some small little bows of the lace that you can buy at Dollar Tree as well. And again, if you make any of these projects, please tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see what you guys come up with and the different ideas that you guys end up making or doing. And here's where I added some of the pearls. And like I said, to me, it gave it that extra final touch and it made it look a little bit more fancier, I guess you could say, with the pearls. At least to me it did. And there you have it. What do you guys think? Thank you for watching. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. And don't forget to click on that little bell button so YouTube can notify you every time I upload a new video. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye.